I am going to show you how to make a watercolor swatch in a pastel color with some contrasting colors. It's kind of like with watercolor blobs or swatches, whatever you like to call them. You really don't notice too much when you have a pastel one, because when you add the darker colors in there, you're paying more attention to the pastel colors. The darker colors that go in it are mainly meant to just add some contrast. So I am going to show you how to easily do that in Paint 3D. Now, I am going to click on a new project. I think in Paint 3D, I feel like they have odd canvas sizes, but the only thing I like to do is I click here on canvas, and I don't really want this long rectangular shape, so I'm just going to kind of make it a little bit smaller, just to, and we can even make it a little bit bigger, a little bit taller, a little bit more square to do what we're going to be working with. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to select our brush. And what we want to do here is, out of all of these awesome brushes, your marker, your calligraphy pen, your watercolor, your oil brush, we want to select this watercolor brush. Okay, now I have already chosen a few colors that I'm going to use down here. Our main color is going to be this light aqua color. Okay, so I'm going to select it, and I always make sure that I have selected gloss right here. Right here, this is the thickness of your brush, okay? And this is your opacity. The lower the opacity, the lighter the color is going to be, and the higher the opacity, the higher the more intensity the color is going to be. So I'm going to actually take this down to about 35%, and I'm going to take the thickness of my brush, which is at about 45. Okay, so there are no rules with a watercolor blob on what shape it is. They're always abstract and crazy because you can do and stretch them and do so many different things with them. So I'm just going to kind of start drawing sort of kind of like an outline of some sort. Okay, now that I have my outline, I can go back in. I'm going to color this in. And now I'm going to take the thickness of the brush, and I'm just going to raise it up, because then this is going to make it fill in a lot faster. Okay, now, yeah, we could use this as a watercolor blob if we wanted to, but we need to add just a little bit more something to it. Right now, it's just kind of like a solid color, and we need to add a little bit more to that, just to make it some, contrasty. If that's even a word, and it's not. So I'm going to actually switch to this darker color, which is turquoise, okay? And I am now going to take the thickness of the brush, and I'm going to lower it down really low to about 19%. And we're going to take the opacity, and I'm going to take this to about 25%. And we're just going to kind of play around with this. So we want to add a little bit of contrast here, just by simply, let me take the thickness and increase it just a little bit. So we're wanting to add just a little bit of contrast here at the top. And once again, there are no rules here when you're doing a watercolor. And just bear with me here. When we get through to the end, I think you'll see what I'm talking about on how we kind of are doing this. Okay, so we've got a little bit of this color, and then now I'm actually going to lower the opacity even more on this darker color of turquoise that we have, and I'm going to increase the thickness of the brush while I have the opacity down more. So now we're just going to, this is going to even add more contrast. And I kind of do like an 8 pattern here whenever I'm kind of doing this, because you don't want like such harsh lines. Okay, so right now so far you can tell our main color is still this light pastel aqua color, and we have added some contrast. However, I'm kind of feeling like this is still just a little bit too dark. Now, is what I usually do is I like to take the white, and I like to increase the opacity up to about 90%. And we're going to take the thickness of the brush, and is what we're going to do now is this is going to smooth out just a little bit of what we kind of have been doing. Oh, hang on just a second here. Let me go back. I meant to take the opacity down. Okay, so now let me click back on my color. And we're taking our opacity of white down to, like I said, about 9%. And then the thickness of the brush, we're going to make it sort of big, and we're just going to kind of add a little bit here to soften it just a little bit more. And you can even go through here in the middle, and that really makes the pastel aqua that we went with even more pastel, which is kind of the look that we are going for. So you can tell I am really liking this watercolor blob. You can tell we have some contrast over here, and we do have a mixture of some colors over here. And now is what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and stick with this. I'm going to go ahead and save this image. Okay. So in Paint 3D, all you have to do is you click on Menu, and you click Save As. And over here, we're going to save it as an image. And I'm going to save this to my desktop. Now, this already gives you the option to save it as a two-dimensional PNG file. Okay, but I'm actually going to take this down and change it to a two-dimensional JPEG file. Let me put Okay, now we can do so many things with this watercolor blob, and that's what I'm about to get into. So we're going to jump over here to Lunapic, and we want to take out the background of that watercolor blob. And the reason that we're doing that is because you want to offer it in a PNG file. And the reason you want to do that is because a PNG file can be used to be sold on Etsy just by itself, or you can use it for yourself to create business cards, invitations, printables, you know, whatever it is. Everybody needs the watercolor swatches or blobs for different reasons. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that file, and we're going to take out the background. Okay, so here it is, and one click of a button, and we're going to take out the background. And I'm really loving this contrast and how it turned out. And by the way, this is one of my favorite colors. I just can't wear it. I don't look good in that color, but okay, so we're going to click apply. And then we are now going to save this image as a PNG file. And now I'm going to show you after this what we can do with that. Okay, we're just going to go save as. I'm going to go save this to my desktop, even though I have an entire folder of Okay, so we now have this in a JPEG, and we also now have this in a transparent background PNG file. Okay, I am going to hop over here to iPicky.com, and I'm going to show you just what we can do with that watercolor blob that we just made. And the possibilities are endless. Okay, so let's say, for example, that we wanted to design a business card. So we're in iPicky.com, and I went to the designer. So we want to put this in here in pixels. Okay, so the standard size, okay, we're going to just try this on a business card. The standard size for a business card, if you want to have it in 300 DPI, we're going to click New. The size is 1050 by 600 pixels, and this is going to create your 3.5 by 2 inch business card. Okay, so we can actually take this down just a little bit just so we can see what we're doing. Okay, so now is what I want to do is I'm going to upload this watercolor blob or swatch that we actually just made, and we want to make sure we're uploading the PNG version that has the transparent background. Okay, now when we put it over here, and this is going to be with any watercolor blob that you purchase on you know, Etsy, Creative Market, they're going to be like this. And is what you can do is you can make them bigger. And here's another cool part. You can stretch them. You know, again, there are absolutely no rules at all when it comes to this. Another thing you can do is you can tilt it just a little bit. Okay, so let's say we were just making a business card, and I'm just going to say that it's, you know, Alicia Kahn Designs. So I'm going to add some text here. And I will pause this for just a second so I choose my font. Okay, so I went ahead and picked out my fonts here, and then we would just need to change the color to whatever we would like on the spectrum, and I think I'm going to go with something in the this you can move this around and change it to something that is going to offset what we already have. Okay, and I think I like this. Now, once again, I have taught in my previous videos, when you find a color on the spectrum here that you like, it has a certain number and letters here. If you just highlight this and hit Control C, and you go back here and you click on color, right here, there's a bunch of zeros. You just hit Control V to paste, hit enter, and it automatically changes it to that color. I mean, unless you want different colors on that. And this really isn't a business card tutorial, but I'm just trying to show you what you can do with this watercolor blob. So, you know, another thing I want to show you too is kind of like, if you decide you want this darker part at the other side, we can actually take and flip this around and you can move this to this side if you want, and you can make it just a little bit bigger. And you can stretch it. Okay, so now I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. And this is what we have created. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Just get on Paint 3D and just start playing around. You will be amazed at what you can come up with just by playing around. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Also, do not forget to subscribe to my channel and also hit that bell notification so you do not miss out on any future videos that I will be uploading. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope everyone has a great day.